Duke Sucellus is known by many names. The Duke, Big D, Duke Suck, or as I like to call him, the Suck. Take two. In this guide, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about taking down the Duke. Let's start off with requirements. You can't fight this boss without completing Desert Treasure 2, which has its own slew of requirements which are listed nicely on the wiki. Other than that, you should have some reasonably high combat stats. I'd say anywhere past 85 in your melee combats should secure you consistent kills, and of course a higher prayer level will always be beneficial, with 77 for piety being the goal. That's it in terms of requirements, so let's talk gear. So here I'm going to be showing two different setups for high level and mid level players. For high level players, they should bring their best strength bonus armor like Bandos or Torva, primordial boots, ferocious gloves, fire or infernal cape, torture or blood fury for some extended kills, especially since blood shards are hovering around 6.8 mil at the moment, which is pretty good deal. If you have a scythe, bring that since the Duke is weak to slash. Else, I would recommend an Arclight since it's a 4-tick weapon and keeps up with Duke's enraged phase quite nicely. We'll get to that in a bit. For the mid-level setup, you should definitely have a fighter torso for a strength bonus and barrows or obsidian legs. You can use the Arclight in the Dragon Defender, which is actually quite effective against the Duke. Barrows gloves are a must-have, and the Helm of Netzenot is free from a quest and gives a nice strength bonus, so it's an easy choice. There's some wiggle room in both setups when it comes to the ring. The Bellator is best in slot for slash weapons like the Scythe, but it's also 95 mil. The Altar ring is the next best in slot due to its high strength bonus, but it's almost 200 mil, so I personally just use an imbued Berserker ring. It's worked fine for me in all my kills, and I'm sure it will be great for you as well. Now that we've covered some gear that you should bring, let's talk about inventory. I recommend having a Bandos Godsword as your special attack weapon. Duke has some high defense, and the slash accuracy combined with the special attack of the BGS makes for noticeably faster kills. A rune or dragon pickaxe will help mine salt much faster during the prep phase, but there's also an iron pickaxe on the back wall of the room if you prefer to bring an extra piece of food or potion instead. I like to bring an anglerfish for overhealing on my first kill, 3 prayer potions, 1 super restore, 1 Saradomin brew, 1 super combat, and 1 stamina potion. I will say I don't mind walking when I run out of energy during the prep phase of the fight, so I almost never bring or use stamina potions, but if you want to be efficient, you should definitely bring a stamina. I also bring a Ring of Shadows for quick teleports back to the boss after you have the Frozen Tablet, which is a super common drop. The Book of the Dead for thralls, a rune pouch with runes for summoning thralls, and a one-click teleport out. In this case, it's my construction cape, but some other options include a farming cape, house teleport tablet, ectofile, or piece of achievement diary equipment. Finally, I fill the rest of my inventory with combo eats like sharks and karambwans. Let's talk for a second about my runelight settings for this boss. I have a set of tile markers you can import for this boss linked in the description below. You can import tile markers by right-clicking the world map and selecting Import Ground Markers, if you have the ground markers plugin enabled on RuneLight, of course. The second setting I'd like to have is a highlighter for the vents. Install the Better NPC Highlighter plugin from the plugin hub. Under True Tile, in the True Tile IDs field, add the number 12198. You can then pick any highlight color you'd like, and it'll highlight the dangerous areas for each of the vents. Nifty. Now for my favorite part of the video. Let's cover some of the boss mechanics. Duke Sucellus is a unique boss in that the fight includes 2 parts, a prep phase and the actual fight itself. Let's break down the prep phase. Your goal is to poison the Duke by creating 2 Arda Musca poison potions. To make both potions, you need 2 Ardor mushrooms, 2 Musca mushrooms, and 12 Salax salt. Each mushroom is located on the 2nd floor of the chamber at the back of the asylum, closest to the Duke. To get to each mushroom, you need to avoid sporadic lightning, which strikes nearby tiles, stuns the player, and deals up to 18 damage. as well as the Duke's gaze sent out by his extremities. If you get caught in this gaze, it can deal up to 70 damage, so they should be avoided at all costs. An easy way to get to the mushrooms is to start on the tiles I have labeled, and click from the first tile all the way back to the last tile. Your character will path through the obstacles, avoiding the gaze of all of the extremities, even if they activate while you're running through them. The only real danger is if the lightning strikes one of your tiles or your run energy depletes. If you run out of energy while moving through the tiles, your character won't skip the right tiles, and you may find yourself caught in the extremities gaze. You've been warned. Once you're at the mushrooms, you can tick manipulate them into faster picks by using the mushroom in your inventory on the pestle and mortar and clicking back on the mushrooms on the wall on the same tick to instantly pick a second shroom. It's not hard or even necessary to do this, but it is fun and saves a few ticks. Grinding each mushroom yields 6 of the respective powder, so you only need 2 of each mushroom. Once you have all of your powder, path to the Salax salt piles in the middle of the room, being careful not to move through any of the vent fumes. Mine 12 Salax salt from the pile, which can also be tick manipulated if you kept a whole mushroom from the previous step. Head to one of the fermentation barrels near the entrance to the asylum to start the process of converting your ingredients to the Arda Musca poisons. Let's talk quickly about how the vent fumes operate, because it's super helpful to know which vent is going to activate next so it can be avoided. Vents start off offset from one another, meaning each row of vents is going to have one active, but they'll never align with one another vertically. Vents will always move from west to east or left to right if your camera is facing the Duke. Once the fumes reach the easternmost grate, it will reset and start again from the westernmost grate in that row. Now, you can easily predict where the next fume in each row is going to pop up. Now for the fight itself. Starting the fight is probably the most difficult part, but here's what I do to prepare. Feed the Duke one of your Arda Musca potions, equip your BGS if you have one, click on your spec orb to activate your special attack, take a sip of your super combat, pray protect from melee and piety, summon a thrall, feed Duke the second potion, and then click the boss to actually start the fight. As soon as the fight starts and your BGS lands, move behind the pillar. We want to stay in melee range of the Duke as much as possible to avoid his magic attack, which can hit up to 48. Duke will use his auto attack when players are in melee range, and Sucellus will raise his arms, causing icicles to spike up from the ground, immediately dealing low but very accurate chip damage up to 11 if your player is standing on or adjacent to the icicles. We pray protect from melee to reduce the chip damage to around 5. He'll then slam down and shatter the icicles shortly after raising them. This deals up to 56 damage. So the cycle goes, ice spikes are summoned, player moves behind the pillar, ice spikes explode, player moves in melee distance of the Duke to attack, and then it repeats. The auto attack is predictable but fast, so you need to get into this 5-tick cycle as quickly as you can. If done correctly, you should be able to get a single scythe hit off for every ice spike attack. After every 5th attack, the Duke will use his freezing gaze. If the player is not behind a pillar, they can take up to 101 damage, basically killing the player instantly. One tip for this special attack is as soon as you hear this sound, it's safe and you can move out and get another attack off on Duke Sucellus. Done correctly, this will put you right back into the auto attack cycle. Finally, Duke will use his gas flare special attack and launch some gas, which will activate the gas vent nearest to the player. You must run to the other side of the room and continue the fight from there. Now, pro tip, you can actually get a hit off on Duke while running to the other side of the asylum and stay in cycle. There are some things to note as the fight progresses. After reaching around 56% of his health, Duke will spit out 2 gas flares instead of 1, but nothing changes from the general strategy of moving across the room and taking a swing at Duke while moving. At 25% of his health, Duke Sucellus will enrage and start attacking on a 4-tick cycle instead of a 5-tick cycle. If you're using a scythe or other 5-tick weapon, this means you'll have to skip hits and won't be able to hit Duke in a 1-to-1 manner anymore. Some players opt to switch to a 4-tick weapon like a whip or an arc light for this phase, but it's totally optional. That's it for the fight mechanics. Let's dive into an example kill. Alright, so here I am in all of my budget gear. I got full rune on, rune gloves, rune boots, amulet of glory, and an arc light, and we are just gonna make it work. So the first thing I do is I drop a couple of pieces of food because I need to make room in my inventory for some of the stuff we're gonna be picking up. Then I grab a pestle and mortar off the wall, and I immediately move to my special tiles. And then I'll just kind of click through these tiles, and I can click all the way into the back. I'm perfectly safe because I'm running and I have plenty of run energy. Here you can see I tick manipulate the mushroom to pick an extra one immediately, and I just walk all the way back. You can see I'm just taking care to avoid all of that little lightning there. It's better to take your time and avoid the lightning than to be stunned and take 18 damage. Here I click all the way back and I just move straight through. We avoid all of the extremities and we go ahead and start picking our additional mushrooms. So here I tick manipulate it again, and you can see how it's instantly picked. It just saves a couple of ticks there and it's kind of fun to do. I work my way all the way back, and now it's time to get the salt. I wait and see the positions of the vents, and I know that to the left it's going to be safer so I don't get trapped or blocked in by that vent when it comes back online. And I move all the way back to the fermentation vats. I'm going to start my first batch of potions, just wait for that to be done, grab my second batch, and we are good to go. Then I'm just going to pick up a couple of extra pieces of food, equip my BGS, and start making my way down to the boss. I want to take extra caution here. I almost just got hit by that vent, and I can see the far vent over there is on the right, so it's going to start on the left next time. I use the potions on the boss. I summon a thrall, do my prayers, have my BGS, spec him, immediately move behind the pillar, and then spec him again, switch to my arc light, and now I am in cycle. You can see how it's just a basic rhythm. The icicles come up, we move behind the pillar, the icicles go down, we click on the boss. So now Duke has used his freezing gaze. We want to make sure we're behind the pillar, and then we can get another hit off and get right back in cycle before those spikes come up again. We just have to make sure we're fast right after that we hear that chiming sound. Now he's using his little acid bomb special attack or poison vent special attack, and we just have to run to the other side, and we're doing the exact same thing. You'll notice that as he launches this, I'm able to get one more attack in right there and then get right back into that cycle. You can see this fight is very repetitive. We just stay in cycle, stay behind the pillar when he does his freezing gaze, and move to the opposite side of the room when he does his vent attack. So now you can see we've got him below 25% health, so he's going to go into his enraged phase. And you can see it is a little bit faster when he launches when he does his auto attacks, but since we're using a 4-tick weapon, we really don't have to worry about anything. We can still do this in a 1-to-1 manner, where we hit him once, he does one of his auto attacks. We hit him once, he does one of his auto attacks. And he will use his little acid bomb special attack more frequently, so we just need to be aware of that. But other than that, nothing much changes with the fight. And that's it for an entire fight with the Duke. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps my channel grow. Thank you, and have a great day.